in manual testing, whatever we have done, we will convert it into automation. Like if I want to test any scenario, like for suppose if I am on Amazon page and I want to search for a product, and I want to click on the search button and view the results, click on this particular product and adding to basket. All these scenarios, whatever I'm doing it manually, now we will try to do it by automating. So in Selenium, like even before looking at the code, first you have to know what is HTML. Okay. So in order to develop any web application, what we will do, the developers will use front end language, like front end code. Different languages are there like HTML, JavaScript, React.js. There are many other. So for any web development, the basic is HTML. So this is a HTML page which is also having JavaScript and React.js embedded in it. But you need to know how this web page is created. If you just right click on any of this web elements and any of the place over this website, and if you click on inspect, you'll see some code which is written here. So I can't zoom this. Okay. So this is called as our HTML code. Today we will learn first the HTML basics, then we will go to Selenium. Okay. So in order to create any web page, just open any notepad in your system. First of all, we need a notepad. Okay, I'll just do it in Word. Okay. So the HTML code starts from HTML tag and it ends with HTML tag. So whatever we are writing in the angular bracket without front slash, it is called as open tag. And if it is having this front slash, then it is called as closing tag. Whatever we write should be there in between this. In Java, how we will write within the class, in the similar way we have to write within the HTML tags. So this is the starting HTML tag and this is the ending of the HTML tag. So in between this, we will have head and body. Head. So I have opened the head tag and I have closed the head tag. Similarly, I am opening the body tag and I am closing the body tag. So now we will see what this head will do and what this body will do. So now to save this, you have to save it in the form of .html. Okay. In your case, like in this MacBook, I don't think that I'm having this notepad. In Windows, you have to just open the notepad and write the code, and then while you're clicking Ctrl S on save as, you have to save it as .html. Okay, and name I'll just give some demo. Okay. Now within this body, if I'm trying to write a input field. Now for example in this Amazon, we are having this search field, right? This is a field where we can enter text. So if I want to design
సురేఖ్
a
కానీ
box,
ఇప్పుడు నువ్వు వర్డ్ డాక్యుమెంట్ లో చేస్తున్నావు కదా, కానీ వేరే సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఉంటుంది కదా హెచ్టిఎంఎల్ రాయడానికి కూడా.
like Eclipse, you can do it in Visual Studio Code as well. If you are having Visual Studio Code, then it's fine. Like just I can do it in Visual Studio. I'll show you.
Oh, you have Visual Studio installed in your laptop now.
So if you guys are not having Visual Studio, it's fine. You can just do it in your normal notepad.
Eclipse. Okay. Oh, generally they use Eclipse, huh?
Generally they use Visual Studio Code for this.
Okay, sorry, Visual Studio. Okay.
So now in this Visual Studio, what I am doing, I'm just creating a file demo.html. Demo2.html. And here I'm just trying to put those HTML tags.
సురేఖ ఈ వీడియో మీరు రికార్డ్ చేస్తున్నారా?
చేస్తున్నానండి.
చేస్తున్నారా? ఓకే ఓకే.
So whatever we write, it should be there within the HTML opening and closing tag, and in between that you'll have a head and a body. You'll come to know what we have to put in head and what we have to put in body. For example, now what I'm trying to do, I'm just trying to design a input field which will take all the alphabets, numbers and everything. So now to design that, I have to use the keyword input. So within the body tag, I am putting a keyword input, and what I'm trying to enter, I want to enter text in it. So I have to specify type equal to text. So input is my tag name. All these are called as tags. You need to remember this terminology. So HTML is a tag, head is a tag, body is a tag, input is a tag. And the inner size. Can you guys see this font?
సురేఖ ఇది చాలా ఫాంట్ సైజ్ చాలా చిన్నగా ఉంది.
చిన్నగానే ఉందా? ఒక్క నిమిషం. Give me a second. Can anyone see preferences here? Preferences. Okay, is this fine for now? Let us do it. So now in this input tag will help you to create a web element which will allow you to type something. So now what is my requirement? I want to enter text. So within this open tag only, within this input tag itself, I have to give a space and I have to write type equal to text. Okay, and I should also close the tag. Okay, now if I run this code, for example, if I run this code, what will happen is, you can see a field over here where I am able to type. After saving the file, you just need to open the file in a browser window. So you have to go to the path where this file is saved and you have to just double click on it. Then you will be able to see whatever the changes you have written in the code, that will be visible here. For suppose if I add a label here. So before this field, I just want to add a label saying enter username. If I refresh the page, you can see that. Okay, now if I want to put a heading to this page, like here whatever you're seeing on the top, this is called as title of the page. Here ChatGPT is there, here amazonco.uk is there. Similarly, if I want to put some title to my page, then I have to put it under the header section, in the head section. So in the head section, you have to use the keyword title, and I'm just giving my demo. So now when I refresh the page, you'll see the change over here. So if anyone asks you to verify the title of the page, then you have to go and check on the tab. Whatever it is displayed on the tab, that is called as your title. Okay. Now I want to give a drop down. If I want to give a drop down, then I have to put it under select tag. And I'm just giving a name to the drop down. Select city. And BR is the tag which helps you to break, like just move to the next line. How we are using system.out.println to go into the next line because of ln. In the similar way, if you want the code to be on the next displayed on the next line, then you have to use the BR tag. So now whenever you see a drop down, you'll see that there are multiple values in it, right? For example, if I click on this all, I'm having multiple values to select. So inside a drop down, all these are your options. So while writing the code as well, you have to put it under your options tag. So within the select, you will have option. Select option value equal to, for example, Dublin. So whenever you are writing for drop down, you have to put it under option tag within the select tag. Here I have opened the select, but I am not closing it yet. After writing out all my options, then I will close it. Are you guys understanding what I am doing?
Yeah, Sureka. So అన్ని డ్రాప్ డౌన్స్ మెన్షన్ చేసిన తర్వాత అప్పుడు సెలెక్ట్ అని క్లోజ్
Drop down the values. We have to give the values in the.
ఓకే ఓకే
ఈ ఊరు పేరు చెప్పే
లెటర్ కెని కేఈ ఎన్వై
ఎన్వై
సరిపే ఎన్ఎన్వై అనుకుంటా
నిన్న ఎవరు ఇంటర్వ్యూలో
Cork.
పేరు చెప్పారు.
అవునా
మా యూకే పేరు రాసుకున్నాను.
యూకే పేరు రాసుకుంటావా డబ్లిన్ 2 times అయిపోయింది
ఇక్కడ తీసేసి
లండన్ పెట్టే అంటే whenever you give an option value tag, then it becomes as a, I mean, that represents the drop down, right?
Yeah, if it is under select tag, within that select tag, you have to specify the options.
Okay.
You have to remember that whenever you are opening a tag, you need to close it. So here I have given option and I have closed the option. Whatever the text that needs to be displayed outside, like when on this code, on this web program, that code should be there within the brackets. If you see here, I have written enter username, right? That enter username I have written between the opening and closing tags. Here I have opened the label tag. Here I have closed the label tag. In between this, I have written the text. Okay, similarly, if I want to display some value on my web page outside, I have to give it between the opening and closing tags. So option tag has opened here and it is closing here. In between that, I gave this value. Okay, even the title as well. If you see, between the opening and closing tag, I have given my value. You're not putting it in any quotations. You're just writing it between the tags. Remember that. Only the values which we are putting inside the tag itself, like if the angular bracket has opened here and it is closing here for the open one, so in between this whatever we are writing, for that it will follow like the value should have the double quotes and the attribute will have, it won't have double quotes. Like similarly how we write int a equal to 5, then what is a is a variable, 5 is the value, right? In the similar way, here value is the attribute and whatever the value that is present right side to the equal symbol, that is called as your value. Let me write. in this word. Whatever we input type equal to text I have written. So in this piece of code, what is your tag name? What is this input called as? Noshin, can you say what is this input?
Tag.
Yeah, it is a tag name. And whatever you are writing within this tag, that is called, if it is having in the form of equal to, and it is having values to the left and right, the left side value is called as attribute. And the value towards the right is called as value. And value should always be there in double quotes. Okay. So type is an attribute, text is a value. Now, let me see whether the drop down has been created or not. For this, we have to give some name. No? Label, select, city. So you just need to refresh the page. You will be able to see. So select city drop down is there, and it is holding the Dublin, Letterkenny, and Liverpool, London. Whatever the options that we have written in the option tag, that will be displayed over here. Okay. Out of this,
So all this can be done only in the Visual Studio, but we will not be able to do in the Eclipse, huh?
in Eclipse we can, like here we have installed Eclipse for Java developers, right? Similarly, there will be one more Eclipse called as Eclipse for web programming.
HTML. Oh, okay.
So for
Okay.
web programming, then you can, in that Eclipse you can do.
Oh, okay, got it.
You can just do but through the notepad, that is much easier.
Oh, in the notepad, okay. But if you miss something and all the error, if it is in Visual Studio, it will show, right? But if in the notepad, it won't show, right?
In HTML, even though, like if I made some mistake, I won't be able, like for suppose I'm not closing this.
Mm.
Okay, I'm saving this. It won't show me the error directly. Now it is not showing me an error, right? When
Okay,
you run this code, then only you will come to know if there is some error or not. And
okay.
directly it won't say you like as an Eclipse like please check, please close the braces, please close the tag.
Yeah. Check the following lines so
That
that you
won't be
find the
there.
error and all.
Just for like to understand whether you have closed or not, and while you're typing, if you need some help, that it can do.
Okay.
Out of this, what we need for our testing is you need to know what is the tag, what is the attribute, and what is the value. So if you see some code like this, if I say go near input tag, then you have to identify this input tag. If I want to find what is the attribute and value that this input tag is holding, then you have to say type equal to text. Now, what will happen is the developer will have hundreds of input tags in his code, right? He will have one search field. For example, if there is a form, in the form there will be first name, last name, email ID, password, everything. So for this, the developer is having multiple fields, but he should be able to identify one specific field, right? If I want to identify username field only, then he should be directly able to identify that. For that, what developer has done, he has created one attribute ID, and there he will give the name of it. For example, if I'm having like three more fields, okay, one will hold for password, one will hold for address, email, city, something, country. Okay. So, in order to identify the web elements uniquely, Just by, if I say that find the element by username, then you will be able to identify that there is only one username. So id is having the property of uniqueness. You cannot use the same username anywhere else in the code. Okay. In generally how id is unique, in the similar way, whenever you put an id, the value developer cannot repeat it. He cannot give username here again. Okay. So id is a unique value. Similarly, you're having one more attribute called as name. So two people can have same name, right? So the name is not unique. id is unique, name is not unique. Now if I want to identify email and I'm not having attribute for it, I'm not having the id attribute or name attribute in it, but I want to identify this email. Okay. If I want to identify this email without id or without name, then what can I do? If I want to identify this uniquely, it is not directly possible because it is not having any name or id to specify it, to call it. So in that cases, what the developers, like what we can do is we can refer to the path of it. So I'll just make it a good structure. HTML is the parent tag. Okay. So within the HTML, you'll have this head, and within the head, you are holding this title, and head is similar to body, and within the body, you are having this entire code. Mm. Can you see these lines? These vertical lines. So these vertical lines will help you to identify where it started and where it ended, and what is the order or hierarchy of it. So HTML is the parent tag, and within the HTML you are having head, and head is holding title. Now if I want to identify this title, I can say that inside HTML there is a head, and within that head there is a title. So like this I can write the path of it, right? So when I'm saying like this, then first the code like Selenium will come to HTML, and from HTML it will move to the head tag, and then it will catch this title tag. This is another way of identifying when you're not having ID, or if your name is not unique. If you want to identify it, identify a web element uniquely, then you can just write the path of it, by based on the structure. Like for title, I have written HTML head title. Similarly, if I want to write for this third in like for this email, so what I can do, it's under HTML, and inside HTML it is under body, and within the body it is at 1 2 3 4. It is the fourth input, so I can just write input of 4. So now what will happen? Selenium will come into the code, HTML, it will come to the body, and within the body it will count for 4 inputs. First input, second input, third input, fourth input. So it will fetch this email value. This is one more way of identifying the value. Did you guys understood how I did that?
Yeah, Sureka, I got it.
Naushin, did you understood?
Yeah, got it.
If you're having any doubts, I'll just repeat ask. Shadi గారు మీకు అర్థమైందండి?
కొంచెం పర్లేదు సురేఖ.
ఇప్పుడు ఈ పాత్ రాయాలంటే జస్ట్ మనం అది ఎక్కడ స్టార్ట్ అయింది, దాని లోపల ఎవరున్నారు, దాని లోపల ఎవరున్నారు. యూ కెన్ సీ ద డిఫరెన్స్ ఇన్ దిట్స్ హైరార్కీ. లైక్ it's here, and within that you are able to see this head, and within that there is a title. You'll have that space in between. Even in the web page, like if you right click on any website and just click on inspect, here you can see the structure. Here see, HTML is there, and within HTML you're having body, like head and body, these both are at same level. And within this body you're having a div tag, and within this div tag you're having a script tag. Okay, like that you'll be able to see the difference based on these arrows. Like if you see this, it'll, whenever you're hovering on it, you'll see a small line. So whatever is falling under the same line, you can refer to them as sisters. Those both are at equal level. In this code, now I can say that this input and this input and this input are sisters because they are at same level. And I can refer to my body as my parent because it is one step ahead of me. And I can refer to this HTML as my grandparent because it is two steps ahead of me. Okay. In this entire HTML, you have to remember three main points. One is, the first one is called as tag name, and whatever is written within that opening tag, that is called as attribute and value. So type is an attribute and text is a value. ID is an attribute, username is a value. Okay. And remaining all are tag names. You have to just remember that. Now I'll tell you what is the use of it. So manually, if I want to test this search functionality, I can go directly to this search field and I can enter, because I know as a human that this is a search field. But for a Selenium to understand in which field it should write, it should be able to locate this element, right? It should know that this is the search element. So in order to identify, in order to specify to Selenium that please go and write here, you need to give the path, you need to identify it where it is. So what we are having in Selenium, we are having a concept called as locators. These locators will help you to identify those web elements.
సరే ఒకసారి మళ్ళీ ఒక్కసారి చెప్పవా ఇప్పుడు చెప్పింది లొకేటర్స్.
ఇప్పుడు మనం ఒక ఈ వెబ్ పేజ్ ఉంది కదా, ఇన్ దిస్ వెబ్ పేజ్ ఇఫ్ ఐ వాంట్ టు click on new releases hyperlink. If I have written a normal test case, like in manual testing, I asked you, I have written a test case step that open Amazon web page, click on new releases link. You'll be able to do that because you know that this is the new releases link. But Selenium does not know whether this is the exact position of this new releases. It should come here and it should click over here. To know that, it should know where is the path of it. So this entire web page is written in a HTML code, right? So with the help of this HTML, you should be able to identify those web elements. So the concept of identifying the web elements is called as locators.
The concept of identify the
web
web
elements.
element is called locators.
So in
ఒకసారి
Selenium,
నేను తెలుగులో ఒకసారి చెప్తాను చూడు. జనరల్ గా మాన్యువల్ టెస్టింగ్ లో అంటే అంటే మనకు తెలుసు, అంటే మనకి అది న్యూ రిలీజ్ అనో లేకపోతే సమ్ రిజిస్టర్డ్ యూజర్ అనో లాగిన్ అనో మనకు తెలుసు. బట్ వెరాజ్ సెలీనియం డస్ నాట్ నో వాట్ ఇట్ ఈస్. ఓకే, ఇన్ ఆర్డర్ టు Selenium, in order to get Selenium a better understanding, we have to give a locator for this new release.
It needs to be identified by the code.
అయితే ఇప్పుడు హెచ్టిఎంఎల్ యాక్చువల్గా హెచ్టిఎంఎల్ అనేది ఫ్రంట్ ఎండ్ అంతా, ఇదంతా యూఐ అంతా హెచ్టిఎంఎల్ లో ఉంటది కాబట్టి నువ్వు అందులో క్లిక్ చేసుకుంటే నీకు అక్కడ నీకు కనబడుతుంది.
నువ్వు ఐడెంటిఫై చేయాలన్నమాట. క్లిక్ చేయవు హెచ్టిఎంఎల్ ద్వారా, నువ్వు ఐడెంటిఫై చేస్తావు. యూ జస్ట్ ట్రైంగ్ టు ఐడెంటిఫై దిస్ వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్.
Okay.
To identify this web element, there are different ways. So those different ways are called as locators.
ఓకే. అయితే ఇప్పుడు చూడు ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ లొకేటర్ ఉంది కదా! ఆ న్యూ రిలీజ్ తాలూకా లొకేషన్‌ని లొకేటర్ అంటారు. ఈ న్యూ రిలీజ్‌ని వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్ అంటారా?
న్యూ రిలీజెస్ని
వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్ అంటారా?
ఎవ్రీథింగ్ ఇన్ దిస్ వెబ్ పేజ్
ఇట్స్ కాల్డ్ వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్.
is called web element. This bestsellers is a
Okay.
web element, Amazon is a web element, address is a web element, everything is
Yeah.
one web element. Okay.
Okay. Whatever you see on a web page is called anything in the web
Anything is
page is
referred
called a
to
web
as
element.
web element.
Okay. The location of it, which we can be able to retrieve from the HTML code, is a
Locator.
locator.
So
Okay.
it like we are having 8 different types of locators. To locate this particular field, I can do it with the help of locators. It's not necessary that every time we will use the same locator. There are some factors by which we will see. Like I'll tell you first what are the locators, then you'll come to understand. So in locators, we are having 8 different types. Okay. The first one is called as ID. The second one is called as name. And the third one is XPath. Fourth one is CSS selector. CSS selector. And fifth one is class name. Sixth one is tag name, link text, partial link text. Now we will see what these are individually. Okay, so ID means I have already shown you that in this code, if you see an ID attribute, it is a unique word that the developer will write while developing his application. Whenever the developer is putting an ID attribute, that he will write uniquely only. He cannot repeat the same value. So if I want to identify this search field, I'm just right clicking on it and I'm just doing an input, and here I can see there is a to about search box. Let me zoom this. I'll just copy. We will take this. Can you see here? So what developer has written for Amazon, he has written some input and it is holding the type as text, and he has given an ID attribute to it, and he has also given a name to it and some value which is empty, and placeholder is one of the attribute. Like this, there are several attributes that he has written for developing this input field. Okay. So in order to develop this input field, what he has written input and he has given the type as text, and there are some attributes. Okay. So what we are trying to do is, with the help of what developer has written, we cannot develop that application, right? We are just trying to test it. We cannot change the values what the developer has written. We have to use them in order to locate it. So ID is one such attribute which is always unique. So if you see ID, you can directly use that ID. How we will use it? We will see it in Selenium. Like I'll show you. Next, just you have to remember that ID is a unique value. So whenever you see ID, you can directly use the ID to locate that element. If you see the name attribute, like name field keywords, there might be chance that the developer has used this name several times in his code. So if I'm doing just inspecting this and I'm giving a control F, and if I'm pasting that name, if you are able to see only one of one here, if there is only one of one, that means the developer has used this code only once in this entire program. So in that case, it is unique, right? You are finding it only once. In those cases, you can use that name. You have to verify whether that name is used somewhere else or not. You have to just do Command F, Control F, and you have to paste it. Paste it and check whether there is a one match or there are multiple matches. If there are multiple matches, you should not use the name. Okay. Out of these 8 locators, you can use any one type for identifying one web element. If it is having ID, you'll go for ID. If it is having name, then you have to come into the HTML code and you have to search for it. How many matches are there? For example, if I take some keyword like
Surika, but how will we know that a particular web element holds an ID or an XPath? I mean, which locator will the
you
particular
need to
web
use,
element?
that you have to like you have to select by your own, that too by following the rules. Like if I'm just right clicking on and inspecting on this, here you'll be able to see the HTML code what the developer has written. So based on this, now I'll try to see, when I'm seeing this I know that there is an ID attribute, then my choice, I'll just stop at ID itself. If the ID is not there, like in this case of div, if you see, there is only one attribute called as class equal to navfill. So in this case there is no ID, so I cannot go by ID. If the ID is there, it will be unique, and then I'll just check for name attribute. The name is also not there, so I cannot use name as well. Then I'm left with CSS selector class name XPath. So if I use the class name, I have to check. See, for now I have given navfill. Now I got 3 matches. That means this particular value is not unique. It has been used thrice in the code. So class name, I cannot use it directly because I'm not getting one of one. Then I have to go for XPath. XPath means what will happen? You'll write the path of it, like HTML body, within the body under script tag. So if you want to just see the XPath of this div, right click on this web element, copy full XPath. So the XPath means you're trying to identify the position of this div. So where is this div? It seems it is present inside a form tag, it seems. Now let us verify whether it is there in a form or not. So if you see, there is a form which is one step ahead of it. There is a gap between.
Siri, once you're done with this, try to just like explain me in a small in Telugu, Siri.
ఒక్క నిమిషం ఆగు.
I don't know why I'm just confusing for this.
Okay. Naushin, till where did you understood, Naushin? मैं हिंदी में ट्राई कर सकती हूँ, लेकिन मेरा हिंदी इतना अच्छा नहीं है, पर मैं कोशिश करूँगी.
It's fine. I'm just trying to process actually. For me also it's little confusing
Yeah,
slightly.
okay.
But I'm trying to process. I can listen one more time. I'm fine.
Yeah. Okay. If this is difficult now, then I'll for today just focus on this HTML.
It's not difficult, it's confusing because we are merging a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Slightly
So
confusing.
listen like 2 to 3 times after what I say. For once
Yeah.
I'll just tell probably in Telugu, okay? So probably ఇప్పుడు ఏమైందంటే, ఇప్పుడు నువ్వు ఒక వెబ్సైట్ తయారు చేసావి. ఇప్పుడు ఈ వెబ్సైట్ తయారు చేసిన తర్వాత ఇది నువ్వు తయారు చేయట్లేదు, నీకు డెవలపర్ తయారు చేసి ఇస్తాడు.
Okay.
This application is developed by some developer. Now it came to testing. Now you need to నీ దగ్గరికి వచ్చింది, ఇప్పుడు నువ్వు టెస్ట్ చేయాలి కదా. నువ్వు టెస్ట్ చేయాలన్నప్పుడు నువ్వు ఈ కోడ్ ఏం మార్చలేవు. వీ కెనాట్ చేంజ్ దిస్ కోడ్. ఇప్పుడు నేను దీన్ని లొకేట్ చేయాలనుకో, ఇప్పుడు నేను ఆటోమేషన్లో చేయాలనుకో, నేను చెప్పాలి ఇది ఎక్కడుంది అనేది. సో నీకు సెలీనియంలో ఒక మెథడ్ ఉండిద్ది కాల్డ్ as ఫైండ్ ఎలిమెంట్. ఫైండ్ ఎలిమెంట్ అనే మెథడ్ ఏం చేస్తుంది అంటే ఈ వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్ని ఫైండ్ చేయడానికి ట్రై చేస్తుంది. సో అది ట్రై చేసినప్పుడు నీకు ఒక పొజిషన్ ఇవ్వాలి, లైక్ ఏ ఎలిమెంట్ అని ఫైండ్ చేయాలి అని. సో అప్పుడు నీకు ఒకటి ఉంటుంది బై అని. సో బై ఏం చేస్తుంది అంటే నీకు ఐడియా, నేమా, ఎక్స్పాతా, సిఎస్ఎస్ సెలెక్టర్, ఈ 8 వేస్లో ఏ వే అనేది స్పెసిఫై, అది నువ్వు ఆల్రెడీ చూస్తుంటావు. సో వాటిలో ఏదో ఒక దాని లోపల ఏదో ఒకటి సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకోవాలి. మనం ఏది సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకుంటున్నాం అవుట్ ఆఫ్ దీస్ 8 లొకేటర్స్, విచ్ వన్ వీఆర్ సెలెక్టింగ్ డిపెండ్స్ అపాన్ వాట్ కోడ్ డిడ్ ద డెవలపర్ హ్యాస్ రిటర్న్ ఫర్ దట్ పర్టికులర్ ఎలిమెంట్. ఇప్పుడు ఈ ఎలిమెంట్ని తయారు చేయడం కోసం డెవలపర్ ఏం కోడ్ రాశాడో దాని మీద మన లొకేటర్ సెలెక్షన్ అనేది డిపెండ్ అయి ఉంటుంది.
అంతేగాని అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ పైన ఉన్న అంటే మీన్ చూడు పైన బెస్ట్ సెల్లర్స్, గిఫ్ట్ ఐడియాస్ అనేవో ఉన్నాయి కదా అమెజాన్ లో, అవన్నీ ఒక ఐడియాని అలా ఏం ఉండవా?
అలా ఉండదు. ఇప్పుడు నా డెవలపర్ మూడ్ అనమాట. ఇప్పుడు చూస్తే నేను ఆ బెస్ట్ సెల్లర్స్ మీద క్లిక్ చేశానా, క్లిక్ చేస్తే నీకు ఎక్కడెక్కడ ఐడి లేదు. దిస్ ఈస్ హ్యావింగ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ప్రెజెంట్ ఇన్ అన్ యాంకర్ ట్యాగ్. ఏ ఇస్ ఫర్ యాంకర్ విచ్ హోల్డ్స్ లింక్స్ ఇన్ సెలీనియం. సో లింక్స్ కావాలి అంటే నువ్వు యాంకర్ ట్యాగ్లో రాస్తావు. ఇప్పుడు ఇన్పుట్ కావాలంటే, టెక్స్ట్ కావాలంటే మనం ఇన్పుట్ ట్యాగ్ ఎలా వాడాము. యాంకర్ ట్యాగ్ ఈస్ ఫర్ హైపర్ లింక్స్. ఓకే,
సురేఖ, ఇక్కడ ఇన్పుట్ ట్యాగ్ ఎక్కడ ఉంది? ఇక్కడ అంతా డివ్ అవే ఉన్నాయి కదా.
ఇప్పుడు ఇందాక ఇక్కడ చూసాం కదా, ఇప్పుడు నేను ఈ ఎలిమెంట్ మీద క్లిక్ చేస్తే ఆ ఎలిమెంట్కి సంబంధించిన కోడ్ వస్తుంది. ఇది హండ్రెడ్స్ లైన్స్ ఆఫ్ కోడ్ అనమాట. నువ్వు ఎక్స్పాండ్ చేసే
అవును
కొద్దీ దాంట్లో ఇంకా చాలా కోడ్ ఉంటుంది.
అవునవును, అదే
సో
అదే.
వాట్ ఎవర్ ఎలిమెంట్, ఇప్పుడు విచ్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఐ వాంట్ టు ఫైండ్ ద పాత్, ఐ హ్యావ్ టు జస్ట్ గో రైట్ క్లిక్ ఆన్ దట్ వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్ and click on inspect. Then it will highlight the code for which web element that I have chosen.
ఓకే, సో ఆ హైలైట్ అయిందే మనం చూసుకోవాలి, ఇంకా మొత్తం
మొత్తం చూడక్కర్లేదు. యూ షుడ్ నాట్ సీ ద ఎంటైర్ కోడ్. యూ హ్యావ్ టు జస్ట్ రిఫర్ ఓన్లీ టు ద హైలైటెడ్ ఎలిమెంట్ for which I want to identify the position.
Again, we have a type, class, and value, tab index. Those and all are not required. And I mean, for us to test and for us to write a code for the testing, we require only the locators, and the locator in this హైలైటెడ్ కోడ్ ఈజ్ ఓన్లీ ఒక లొకేటరే ఉంటుందా హైలైటెడ్ కోడ్లో?
కాదు, యూ విల్ హ్యావ్ మల్టిపుల్ లొకేటర్స్. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇన్ దిస్ కేస్ అంటే నీకు ఇంకా లొకేటర్స్ అని నేర్చుకోలేదు కదా, అందుకని నీకు తెలియదు. ఇప్పుడు నీకు ఐడి ఒకటే తెలుసు కదా ఇప్పుడు వరకు అయిన దానిలో. సో నువ్వు ఐడి ఉంటే నువ్వు డ్రైవర్ డాట్ ఫైండ్ ఎలిమెంట్ బై డాట్ ఐడి అండ్ యుల్ గివ్ దిస్ ఐడి వాల్యూ వాట్ ఎవర్ ఇట్ ఇస్ దేర్ హియర్.
ఓకే,
అర్థమైందా? నువ్వు నీ కోడ్లో ఫైండ్ ఎలిమెంట్ లోపల ఫైండ్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఏం చేస్తుందంట, ఎలిమెంట్ని ఫైండ్ చేసుకున్నా అని ట్రై చేస్తుంది. ఆ ట్రై చేయడానికి ఎలా అంటే బై డాట్ ఐడి విత్ ద హెల్ప్ ఆఫ్ ఐడి. అండ్ ఆ ఐడి లోపల నేను ఏమి ఇవ్వాలి, ఈ ఐడి యొక్క వాల్యూ ఇవ్వాలి.
ఓకే
ఓకే, సో ఇన్ ఆర్డర్ ఇప్పుడు ఈ ఐడి ఒకవేళ లేదనుకో, ఇప్పుడు ఈ డివ్ క్లాస్కి నాఫిల్ అని ఉందనుకో, ఇప్పుడు నేను క్లాస్ నేమ్ వాడేటప్పుడు నాకు ఒకవేళ నేను సెర్చ్ చేసుకున్నప్పుడు నాకు గనక ఇక్కడ 1 అని వచ్చిందనుకో, నేను దాన్ని వాడేసుకోవచ్చు. డ్రైవర్ డాట్ ఫైండ్ ఎలిమెంట్ బై డాట్ క్లాస్ నేమ్ అండ్ ఐ కెన్ జస్ట్ గివ్ దిస్ వాల్యూ.
అంటే నువ్వు కింద సెర్చ్ చేసినప్పుడు అది
ఇక్కడ మనకి 1 రావాలి, యూనిక్గా ఉండాలి ఆ వాల్యూ. ఎందుకంటే ఇప్పుడు నా దగ్గర వాట్ ఈస్ ద రీజన్ బిహైండ్ యూ షుడ్ గెట్ 1 is what Selenium will do is it will try to search the code from starting to bottom. It will do top down approach. So what will happen?
అయితే ఇప్పుడు రాంగ్ ప్లేస్ లోకి వెళ్ళకూడకుండా ఉండడం కోసం యూనిక్ గా ఉందో చెక్ చేసుకోవాలి.
ఇప్పుడు నా దగ్గర నేనేమనుకుంటున్నాను, ఈ ఫస్ట్ డివ్ లోపల ఉన్న ఎలిమెంట్ దగ్గర క్లిక్ చేయాలని అనుకుంటున్నాను, లైక్ థర్డ్ ఎలిమెంట్ దగ్గర క్లిక్ చేయాలని అనుకుంటున్నాను. కానీ సెలీనియం ఏం చేస్తుందంట, పైనుండి సర్చింగ్ స్టార్ట్ చేస్తుంది. ఇట్ విల్ ట్రై టు స్టార్ట్ సర్చ్ ఫ్రమ్ టాప్. And whenever it has found the matching element, it will stop looking at the further code. ఇంకా కిందకి వెళ్ళదు. ఇప్పుడు నాకు థర్డ్ డివ్ దగ్గర కావాలి, నాకు ఇప్పుడు ఈ థర్డ్ డివ్ లోపల ఉన్న ఎలిమెంట్ దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళాలి అది. కానీ ఆ థర్డ్ డివ్ దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళదంట. ఫస్ట్ అక్కడ ఆల్రెడీ దానికి ఒకటి మ్యాచ్ అయిపోయింది కదా, అయిపోయిన తర్వాత ఇంక కింద సర్చింగ్ చేయదు అది ఇంకా. If I have to specify that it should go near the third element, that is not directly possible. Whenever the first element is matched, it will stop there itself. అర్థమైందా? అందుకే నీకు ఎప్పుడు ఇక్కడ 1 రావాలంటే నువ్వు యూనిక్గా కనిపెట్టాలి ఆ ఎలిమెంట్ని. ఇప్పుడు ఈ డివ్ క్లాస్ 3 చోట్ల ఉన్నా నాకు కావాల్సిన డివ్కి పాత్ నేను యూనిక్గా రాయాలన్నమాట.
అర్థం సరే, కానీ ఇప్పుడు నీకు యూనిక్ గా ఉందా లేదా అని ఎలా తెలుస్తుందని చెప్పు. నువ్వు అక్కడ
నీకు 1 రావాలి. ఇప్పుడు నువ్వు అది పేస్ట్ చేసావు అనుకో,
3 of 3 అని ఉంది ఇక్కడ.
ఇప్పుడు 3 of 3 అంటే 3 times ఉందని కదా. ఇప్పుడు 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3. If you are having one match like 1 of 1, then you can say that the element is unique. ఆ ఎలిమెంట్ ఒకసారి ఉందని నువ్వు చెప్పగలవు.
అవునవును, అర్థమైంది.
ఇప్పుడు ID is one such type, but you are not always be able to find that ID attribute. That ID will be there or it might not be there also. It is developer's choice. Whatever, like while developing his code, in order to apply these colors, these font sizes, for that he will use these attributes like class, ID, values. There are different attributes that he will give in order to make this coloring part. If you see it here, there is something called as tiles. So what these tiles will do, they'll try to give the color, they'll try to give the font, so where it should be there, where, what is its position. So all this will be there in the styles. To apply those styles, he will give this code like id class to group. The class is specifically used to group the elements. ఇప్పుడు గ్రూప్ చేసినప్పుడు ఏమైందంటే, ఇప్పుడు ఐ కెన్ సే దట్ ఫర్ ఆల్ ద లింక్స్ గివ్ వైట్ కలర్ ఫాంట్. ఇఫ్ ఐ వాంట్ టు గివ్ white color font to all the links, then what I'll do, I'll just give the class attribute and I'll give some name as nav links. Nav means navigation links. So whenever there is nav links, I'll just give the color as blue color. So then for all the elements it will be applied at a single stroke. సో అలా డెవలప్ చేసుకోవడం కోసం, టు డెవలప్ ద కోడ్ లైక్ దట్, డెవలపర్ విల్ గివ్ దీస్ attributes. బట్ యాజ్ ఎ టెస్టర్ యు ఆర్ ట్రైంగ్ టు యూజ్ దీస్ టు locate. Okay, you will understand it like further. Just let me complete these locators and then I'll show you the code, how it will run. Then you will understand in real time what is the use of this. For now, just theoretically remember that id is a unique value, name is not unique. Okay, and in XPath you are having two types: absolute XPath and relative XPath. I'll give one more link. So here in XPath you are having two types. One is absolute XPath and the other one is relative XPath. Okay, absolute XPath means you are trying to locate the element by noting down all the tag names which are in connection to it. For example, if I want to identify the XPath of this span, then I have to go to the parent of the span. So span is present within this div. There is a difference right here between the arrows. So with above the span there is a div, and above div there is one more div, and above that all these are belonging into the same, and here you are having one more form. You have to just check the hierarchy of it. Instead of doing that, one simple way is to right click on the web element, copy full XPath. So whenever you do that, you will get the path of it. Okay, so and before this span there is a div, and there is third div, and there is a form parent, and for that form also they are having div. Like that, starting from HTML tag to the current tag name, it will try to note down all the tags which are involved in forming a path. In childhood you might have played this game to find the root, right? The end root, the puzzle game, to find the starting point and ending point. Did you guys play that game? In newspaper at the last you'll find one game, no?
Got it. Yeah.
In the similar way, you are trying to just point out the direction to reach this span. To reach this span, the starting is HTML. So between HTML and span, whatever the tags are connected to it, you will just give those. And these are separated by a single front slash. Now if you want, for simple code we will do, I want to write a XPath for this input tag, then what should I do? Absolute XPath. I will say for one value, then you will say for the other one. So for this input tag, if I want to write an XPath, my parent is HTML. Okay. And my end tag is input. I have written that. In between this, there is only one tag which is above my level. That tag is body. So the absolute XPath becomes HTML body input. Now if I want to write an XPath for the fifth element, like
Mhm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there are 5 um input tags. Then I have to just, in the rectangle bracket, I have to specify its position. Then it will go and highlight the fifth one.
Okay, this is the X path for the input.
For the input. So let us check that. Now this code is there in demo2.html. So in this demo2.html, there are 5 I'm just trying to right click and do some inspect, and I'm trying to find the XPath of it. So I have to just do Control F, then you'll find an input field over here. And now I want to write an XPath for address field. Address is at 1, 2, 3, third input, right? So if I want to write an XPath, what I'll do, I'll start from HTML body. Inside body there is input, and within that, see, when I gave input, now it is showing 1 of 5. There are 5 input fields. Okay, out of which I want to go near address.
Third one.
You see, if I'm not giving the position, it is highlighting the first input tag in yellow color. But my desired element was address. I am not able to do it directly, so then I have to give the position of it. Now I got 1 of 1 and it is highlighting the address tab. Okay, so XPath means you are just trying to note down the path of the element starting from its DOM structure, like starting from HTML tag to the current tag, whatever the you have to refer to the hierarchy. Like you don't need to give input, label, body, head, HTML. It's not like that. It is relating to it your parent. So input and its parent is body and its parent is HTML. Okay. So you don't need to do it manually. You can just do copy full XPath. But in real time, we are never going to use full XPath. We are not going to use it. We will always use relative XPath. Okay. For this relative XPath, there are some formula that you have to remember. Tag attribute at the rate attribute equal to value. So this is the first formula. Today I'll tell you only this one formula. Then we will do some Selenium code. Tomorrow I'll complete the remaining locators. Okay. So if I want to apply this formula for this code, for this piece of code, can you apply this formula? What is the tag name here in that yellow color highlighted one? What is the tag name?
Input.
Input. And now I have to open a rectangle bracket and close it. And what I have said, whatever is written inside this, with the help attribute equal to value. So type is an attribute, text is a value, id is an attribute, the value on the right side is the value of it. So now if I want to put using this id attribute, can you say what should I write?
At the rate ID is equal to commas, apostrophes.
So within the double quotes, I have to specify
The double quote, 2 tab search text box.
So if I'm copying this XPath, and if I'm going into this Amazon page, and if I'm pasting it over here, wait, these double quotes are different in my Word, that's why.
Enter picture.
You have to just click on enter. Let me refresh the page. So if I'm just doing this, oh, I have shown you in Amazon.in, I guess. Let me do this. Here I have it. Okay. What I have made mistake. id equal to about search box. Oh, sorry, I have forgotten two front slashes. The main difference between XPath and relative XPath, like absolute XPath and relative XPath, is the absolute XPath will start with a single front slash, whereas relative XPath will start with two front slashes. That's very important. Huh? So I have to give two front slashes, then the tag name, and in the rectangle bracket I have to give @id equal to value. So if I'm using this XPath, I am getting 1 of 1. So mainly in real time, we will use either ID or XPath or CSS selector. Out of these 8, the main 3 locators that we use frequently are ID, XPath and CSS selector. So to write the text path, there are n number of formula. There are like 13 formulas overall. But for today, just remember this one formula. Two front slashes, tag, rectangle bracket, @attribute equal to value. Here, now you already know that ID is unique, right? So if I'm using the same, there is no point in using XPath. So I'll use some different value. So let me try to use placeholder. So placeholder is also one of the So Navshin, are you having any doubts?
No, I got it. What you said. I have to listen one more time to
Yeah.
remember.
Probably you know, huh? Okay. So in relative XPath, you'll have two front slashes, tag and attribute equal to value. Now I already know that ID is unique. So in generally, if you want, either you can go directly by ID or else you can use that by putting it in XPath. But now I want to use another way just to show you guys. So what I'll do, I have visited this Amazon.in and here I can see that there is a placeholder. Placeholder is also one of the attribute and I'm having value search Amazon.in in it. So instead of that ID, I have replaced it with at placeholder, which is towards the left side, and in the right side I'm just replacing this value. Okay, so now also I'm getting 1 of 1 only. So I can, whatever the attribute and value that I am putting in this X path, it's your responsibility to check you're getting 1 of 1. You have to choose an attribute and value where the developer might not have used in somewhere else. Now I know that there is only one search field, and I know that there is only one placeholder which is saying search amazon.in. By looking at this website, I can say that there is only one input field. So then I can use this placeholder, and I'm just verifying it by placing it over here. I'm checking whether I'm getting 1 of 1 or not. Okay, so I can use any attribute equal to value, but your ultimate goal should be, it should be 1 of 1. Whether you might use ID or name or CSS selector, but you should have always a unique element. Okay, now keep this on aside. Remember that these are the locators. We will see the remaining locators tomorrow. Now I'll show you how to create a Maven project and how to do the Selenium basics. Okay, so you have to go to File, New, Maven project. Okay. And then you have to select Maven Archetype Quick Start 1.1. Give some name. And just click on Finish. Once this is done, you will get that 100% and the project will be created over here. Now in the meantime, I'm having one more Maven project. I'll just use that. So there is one project called as SSL, and here you can see there is a main folder, a test folder, and there is pom.xml file. Okay, and here you are seeing that my Java version is 1.5. So even when you are doing, if your Java version is below 1.8, you need to change it. So in order to change that, you have to click on the project, right click on it, new, go for build path, configure build path. So inside this build path, you have to remove, go to the libraries, check on this 1.5, remove it, and then you have to click on add library, JRE system library, and here you'll have workspace default. It will show the version which is installed in your system. Just click on finish, apply, and after applying that, you have to come to Java compiler. Let me start this new project. It will take some time. So you have to just, right, I'll say once again, because of that project, it is just stopping me to apply these changes. So file, project, Maven project, just give the names, select the Maven Architect Quick Start, and just click on finish. It will take some time for you to create a new project. So once the project is created, you can see that there is MJ here. So it is a Maven Java project, and inside that you'll have like two folders, main and test, and you'll also have a pom.xml file. You have to check for your Java version. If your Java version is less than 1.8, then you have to just right click on the project, go to build path, configure build path, and in libraries you have to just click on your old version, remove it, click on add library, go to JRE system library, click on next, click on this workspace default and finish. Just click on apply, and then you have to come to Java compiler and check this version as well. Now it is under 1.5. I don't want that. I have to use minimum 1.8 or above. So the standard is 1.8 that I'll always use. So I'm just giving the same, and I'm just clicking on apply and close. Now it will create, just make the Java JRE changes to you. Now, in order to have the Selenium code, you need to install Selenium in your system, right? So the main use of Maven project is, instead of downloading everything individually, like just by downloading the jar files. What are jars? Inside this, if you expand, you are able to see these jar symbols, right? So all these are the jar files which are required for Java, which are under JRE system library. Similarly, for Selenium also, you will have some jar files which are required for Selenium to run. Okay, so now in order to give this Selenium dependency, like Selenium code, you have to go to Google Chrome, just search for Selenium Maven dependency and click on the first link, which is under mavenrepository.com, and then just go and verify which version is being used most. So here I can see that only 38 usages, 59 usages, but for 3.141.59 there are 462 usages. So I'll just click on that, and there, once I have opened that, I'll be able to see some code written under Maven. So I have to just copy it, open my Eclipse and paste it. Okay, this will build my code for Selenium. So now if I expand this Maven dependencies, you can see the Selenium jars, Selenium API, Selenium Chrome, Selenium Edge driver, Selenium Firefox driver, like that. Okay, let me delete these default packages. We will create one new ones. Did you guys understood till here what I did? These are just the configurations that you need to do before starting with our Selenium. You have to create a Maven project, and within that Maven project you have to go to this pom.xml file and place the Selenium dependency. So where am I pasting it? It is under my dependencies tag. So this is my opening of the dependencies tag and this is my closing. So how I am saying this is the closing tag? With the help of that front slash. Okay, so in between that dependencies tag, I have to place the code of it. Where will I find that code? It is present under mavenrepository.com. So I have to just go to the Google and search for Selenium Maven dependency, and it will give you that code. Did you guys understood till here?
Yeah, but this pom.xml, did you create or it was default?
No, it will come by
when you create
default. Whenever you do Maven project creation, you'll have this folder structure like src main, src test, JRE system, and pom.xml file.
Okay. So we have to open that and we have to add this code inside that.
Yeah, we have to just add that dependency.
Okay.
Once the dependency is added, you can check like whether the Selenium jars are present or not under Maven dependencies.
Like it is set for like whenever we are doing, we have to do it all the time or it's one time?
No, just one time. Once you have installed, like once you have pasted in this project, you don't need to do it every day. It's just the configuration that you're doing for once.
If I'm creating new project, then I have
Then
to
again, you have to paste this.
Okay, got it.
Now, like there is something called as a robot, like a driver, which will run your code. So now you're having Selenium, but this Selenium should be able to know your browser version. Your browser versions will be updated daily, right? Like after like 1 week or 2 weeks, your browser versions will be updated. Now for Selenium to run on your browser version, you have to download a driver. So for that, what you have to do, you have to open your Chrome browser, click on settings, and here you have to search for about Chrome. Click on that about Chrome and you'll find your version. So my version is 114. Okay. So now I have to go to Google and search for Chrome driver, because I am doing it in a Chrome browser. I want to test it on a Chrome browser, so that's why I'm doing Chrome driver. Download for 114 version. So if I search for it, I'll find this website called as chromedriver.chromium.org. So inside that, I have to check for my version. So my version is 114. So I'll just click on that. And now I am using a MacBook. So in your case, you have to click on Windows. Okay. Now I have to just show in folder, extract this, and I have to open this folder and I have to copy the path of it. So this is the first time I'm doing in this laptop. I have to see how this will work. Okay, let me open this. This now to do a copy paste is also difficult. I hate this. Probably నీకు ఇక్కడ వరకు అర్థమైందా?
అర్థమైంది సూరి. నేను ఆల్రెడీ చేశాను కదా, అప్పుడు కనెక్ట్ అప్పుడు ఏదో ఎర్రర్ వచ్చిందని చెప్పాను.
చేసా ఉంటాను ఇది
జూమ్ లోను 30 minutes అవుతుంది. ఇది గూగుల్ మీట్.
ఓకే, ఫస్ట్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు డౌన్లోడ్ దిస్.
ఇప్పుడు యాక్చువల్ గా నీ ల్యాప్టాప్ లో ఉన్న క్రోమ్ చెక్ చేసావా? ఇప్పుడు ల్యాప్టాప్
చెక్ చేసా కదా. ఇప్పుడు నా ల్యాప్టాప్ లో
ఉన్న వర్షన్ చెక్ చేసి
వర్షన్ 114. సో ఐ హావ్ టు డౌన్లోడ్ ఫర్ వర్షన్ 114.
అవును, అయినా కూడా అవ్వట్లేదా?
అవుతుంది. నేను జస్ట్ పాత్ నేమ్ ఎలా కాపీ చేయాలని చూస్తున్నాను. ఇందులో రాదే బాబు నాకు అంతగా. ఈ ఫస్ట్ టైం చేస్తున్నాను నేను కూడా. దిస్ ఇస్ ద ఫస్ట్ టైం డూయింగ్ ఇన్ దిస్ ల్యాప్టాప్.
యాపిల్ అదే మ్యాక్ లో అన్ని డిఫరెంట్ గా ఉంటాయి కదా,
కొంచెం డిఫరెంట్ ఉంటాయి. అదొకటే బాధ. సో నౌ
మేనేజ్ చేయగలవులే, మేమంటే కష్టం.
నా బొంద. సో నౌ ఐ am just trying to create a class. How we will create in our normal Java project similarly, but as a tester I have to put all my test cases under test folder. So I'm just right clicking on the test folder and I'm creating first a package and demo package. So within this package I want to create a class. So now this is an empty package. Again I am right clicking on it, new class. Here I have to give the class name. Okay. Now I also need the public static void main method. I'm just checking on it. And now I got this. So for the Selenium to run on your Chrome version, you have to give the whatever the driver that you have downloaded, you have to make use of it. This is the robot that will run your code. Now what I have to do, my first statement would be system.set property. What is the property that I'm going to set? I'm saying that take the Chrome driver. So the common statement that we have to give in the first argument is webdriver.chrome.driver. Okay, and in the second argument you have to give the path of your file. So where in which folder you have downloaded, you have to just right click on it, copy the path, and specify it in your second argument. After pasting your path, you have to give chrome driver.exe, whatever is the extension of it. The extension enter. This is also that one. Chrome driver.exe. And you have to remember that in Java, single front slash is generally used as a escape character. So it is better to always give 2 front slashes in that quotation. So what this line is doing, it is trying to set the path of your Chrome driver. So this Chrome driver will help you to run the code in a Chrome browser. So to do that, first argument should have webdriver.chrome.driver, and the second argument should have the path of the file for the version that you have downloaded. Okay, and then my second statement would be webdriver equal to new Chrome driver. So now can any one of you say what is WebDriver and what is Chrome driver just by seeing at this syntax? What is the relation between WebDriver and Chrome driver?
More like interface and
Class. So
class.
WebDriver is an interface, and WebDriver's class child is this Chrome driver.
Chrome driver. Do we have to install package for this also?
Yeah, now it is showing me error, right? So I have to give the package name. Generally it will give you, like whenever you hover it, it will give you that import statement, but it is not giving. So let me try to import. I'm not remembering that. In your case, it'll get, because this is this stupid MacBook. It's not giving me. So this Selenium code is present under this particular package, it seems. Okay. So whenever, if I want to do this, I have to just give star so that everything is imported. Again this Chrome driver is in separate package. Yeah. Now I'm able to see. Import Chrome driver. I'm just clicking on that import statement. So now WebDriver is imported as well as Chrome driver is imported. Okay. Now I have to use the method drive. I have to take the help of this driver variable. So now whatever we write with the help of this driver only. Okay. So if I give driver dot get, so get is the method which will help you to hit the website, hit the URL. For suppose if I am giving amazon.in, so and if I am trying to run this code, it is saying that illegal state means it is saying that the path is not matching. I'm saying that there is an executable file, but it is saying that it is not an executable file. So I have to check like in MacBook if there is any other way to do.
సురేఖ మ్యాక్బుక్ చాట్ జీపీటీకి బాగా పని చెప్తుంది.
అదే కదా. In your case, in your systems, it will be like .exe only. Everything will be small. So Chrome driver .exe, everything will be in small letters only. Okay. అది మాకు కూడా తెలుసురా బాబు. క్రోమ్ డ్రైవర్ డాట్ ఈఎక్సి పాత్ కరెక్టే కదా. ఈ తొక్కలో ఒక పాత్ నేమ్ కాపీ చేయడానికి దీనిలో ఇంత అవస్థ పడాలి ప్రవల్లి, అంత చిరాకు పడుతుందో. అందుకే తెప్పించేసుకుంటున్నాను. ఇండియా వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత
ఇది ల్యాప్టాప్ తెచ్చేసుకుంటావా?
పంపించింది ఆల్రెడీ.
అవునా మీ చెల్లా?
నా వల్ల
సురేఖ
కావట్లేదు దీంతో
నువ్వే వాడలేకపోతే ఇంక నేను కొనడం కూడా వేస్ట్ ఏమో అయితే.
ఇదేదో బెల్లపు రాజా అంతే, దీని మించి దీనిలో ఉండదు.
అవును. అదే అసలు యాక్చువల్‌గా అందరికీ ఎర్రర్‌లు వస్తాయి. నువ్వు చెప్తున్నావు నీకే ఎర్రర్‌లు వస్తాయి. చాట్‌జీపీటీకి వెళ్తుంది మ్యాక్‌బుక్ వల్ల.
So it's saying this path is wrong. So instead of this, there is one more way to just initiate the driver. I'll just do that. Actually, this is the basic step that I'll teach in the first class. Like you have to do that system.set property. You need to give the path. But generally, what happens? This Chrome version will be updated for every 2 weeks, right? So every time I have to download this and again I have to change the path. That is a difficult task. So instead of that, what we can do is you have to add one more dependency called as WebDriver Manager dependency. So in this mavenrepository.com, if I search for WebDriver Manager, let me come from here. In this GitHub, I can select any version which is being used. So I'll just take this version and I'm just adding it in my dependencies in pom.xml file. So after Selenium dependency, I'm just pasting the dependency for my WebDriver manager. Okay. Now instead of the system.set property, what I can do is I can use the statement WebDriver manager dot Chrome driver dot setup. So if I import this, what will this do is it will work for any version. I don't need to check my version of my system, like in my system what is installed. I don't need to check that. Directly I can give WebDriver manager dot Chrome driver dot setup. So this is what we will use in real time projects. Just but for the basic, like if anyone asks you like how to do the set property based on your version, then you have to say that you will do system.set property. You will specify this webdriver.chrome.driver and you'll give the path of the file. So now irrespective of any version, my code will work. Okay. So these are just the normal errors. It will just hit the browser in a second. And hit all in. Now you can see the message Chrome driver was started successfully. And now it is hitting Amazon.in. Okay. So now this operation has been done automatically. I did not do anything. I have just ran the code and it just executed it. Okay. Now there are some commands that you need to know. The driver.get command is to hit the URL. So where is this code? Where is this get method? It is present under Chrome driver class. So to utilize that method, I have created the object for it. Okay. And after driver.get, so when I'm doing this driver.get, if you notice, this is opening in a small browser window. It is not maximizing it. Okay, this is not being maximized. Now if I want to maximize my window, then I have to use the command driver.manage. You don't need to remember completely. If you just give the dot, you will be able to see all the methods which are present under WebDriver. So now to maximize, my command would be driver.manage. What I'm trying to manage my window, and what I'm trying to do with that, I'm trying to do maximize. So if I give this command, now what will happen? The browser is hit and the window is maximized. And now if I want to search for an element in this Amazon page, if I want to search for this and type something here, then I have to identify this element. I have to write the locator for this element. So in order to find that element, I'm having one method called as find element. So driver dot find element by dot id. So let us start with id. Okay, so within that id method, I have to specify my value of it. So first manually I have to open amazon.in and I have to go to that particular place and I have to fetch the id of it. So I found that id. Let me come from the start. So I have gone to amazon.in. I have seen this field. I want to write the locator of it. So I have just right click on that, clicked on inspect, and when I came here I saw that there is an id attribute. So I have copied that value and I'm pasting it in this id method. And now I want to type something. So in order to type something in Selenium, we use send keys dot send keys. So the send keys will pass the value. For suppose I want to search for mobiles under 25,000. So this is the input that I want it to type it under the text box. So this is a string, right? So that's why I'm giving it in a double quotes. So within the send keys method, you will pass everything as a string. Okay. So driver dot find element. Find element is trying to find out the web element. But how it is doing? With the by dot id. And what is that id value that I have given in the double quotes. And this send keys method is helping me to type the values. Okay. Now let us run this code. So first it opened amazon.in. Now it will do a maximize operation where the screen is maximized, and now it will type for the value. Now it is not typing, I guess, because there is some exception that we got. If we didn't get, then it will do. We have to wait.
అప్పుడు ఇక్కడే చూపిస్తుంది కదా ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఇంకా
చూపిస్తుంది. ఒకవేళ రాయకపోతే ఇది కొంచెం ఫస్ట్ టైం కదా స్లోగా జరుగుతుంది. అదే నేను చేయలేదు. సో నౌ ఇట్ హ్యాస్ ఆటోమేటికలీ టైప్ దట్ మొబైల్స్ అండర్ 25,000. As I did not click on this search icon, I did not perform this click operation, so nothing is happening further. I have written the code only to hit the browser, search for this element and type something. Okay. So if I want to click on that search button, then I have to find the locator of it. So I have to just right click on this search button, click on inspect, and I have to write the locator. So this is also having id, so I'll just go by id for today. So driver dot find element by dot id. Naushin, are you understanding?
Yeah.
And I'm giving dot send keys and I have to specify the value. Sorry, I have to perform a click operation. I'm not sending any keys. I am doing a click operation on that search button. So I have to write
క్లాస్ రేపు మధ్యాహ్నం తీసుకుంటావు కదా, అలా మండే నుంచి నీకు మధ్యాహ్నం తీసుకోవడం అవుతుందా?
అవుతుంది
మామూలుగా. అంటే అందరూ కొంచెం ఈవినింగ్ అంటే నౌషినేనా అంటే ఇర్ఫాన్ గారు వస్తారు, ఇవన్నీ కొంచెం బిజీ ఉంటారు కదా.
నాకు ఇది అందరూ ఎప్పుడు ఫ్రీ ఉంటే నాకు అప్పుడే ఓకే. నాకేముంది, ఐఎమ్ బ్యాచులర్, యూ ఆల్ ఆర్ మ్యారీడ్, సో యూ గైస్ సారీ రే, ఫర్గాట్ ద టైమ్ దట్ ఇట్స్ 9 o'clock టుడే. ఐ వాస్ జస్ట్ స్కిప్. చెప్పొచ్చు కదే నువ్వైనా.
నేను అదే నువ్వు ఫ్లో లో ఉన్నావు కదా అని వెయిట్ చేస్తున్నాను. అదే అంటే ఈవినింగ్ అయితే అంటే నౌషిన్ కూడా అంటే ఈవినింగ్ వస్తారు ఇర్ఫాన్ గారు, ఆ టైంలో కరెక్ట్ క్లాస్ లో ఉంటుంది. పోనీ ఇప్పుడు శారద గారు పోనీ ఒకవేళ ఆఫ్టర్నూన్ అవ్వకపోయినా శారద గారికి ఎలాగో ఇప్పుడు సెపరేట్
సపరేట్గా చెప్తాను కదా, మీ ఇద్దరికి ఎప్పుడు ఫ్రీ అయితే అప్పుడు చెప్పండి, నాకు అసలు ఏం ప్రాబ్లం లేదు, నాకు ఎప్పుడైనా ఓకే.
So what do we do now, Shin? Shall we continue from Monday onwards, like in the afternoon, 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock? Will that be okay?
Yeah, that will be great, yeah.
So I mean, we both will anyway, I mean, we'll be joining in the afternoon. If I have any work, I will just change for half an hour or 1 hour time. Like we will try to finish the class before 5 or 6, so that by the time of even Irfan Gar comes and all, you'll be free. And for if Sharda Garu, if she wants in the evening, no, anyway, now Sureka said that she will take separately, right?
Yeah.
She can take, I mean, she can even tell her in Telugu so that she might understand better and all also.
Right.
So now she just let us know, like which time is comfortable. Is it morning or in the afternoon?
I'm fine with anything. Afternoon will be great only. Like if Sureka is free, I'm fine.
Yeah, after our lunch, no? It's better, right?
Okay, let's make it at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock, okay. Suri, నీకు పర్లేదా?
పర్లేదు, బట్ ఐల్ హ్యావ్ సమ్ ఇంటర్వ్యూస్, సో లైక్ ఇఫ్ ఐఎమ్ హ్యావింగ్ ఎనీ ఇంటర్వ్యూ లైక్ at 3 o'clock, then I'll just tell you like 4 or 2 o'clock like that.
Like that, yeah, 1 o'clock. Any time after 1 o'clock, just చెప్పు సురేఖ.
I'll just inform you like 1 hour or 2 hours before, so that we can connect. Just remember, to end this class, I'll just give you this close method. So in order to close this browser, you have to just do driver.close. Okay, I'll give the code.
So again it will return back to this page.
It will just close. Just click on this close button. You won't see it directly, but it will just close the browser. So I'll just run it for one last time, and we'll continue tomorrow.
Okay. So tomorrow at what time we are going to connect?
Tomorrow 3 o'clock.
Naushin, will you be okay 3 o'clock?
Yeah.
Hey,
at what time you guys are starting tomorrow?
Not tomorrow, we'll start Friday, 3 o'clock, I think.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot it's tomorrow. I thought Friday.
Tomorrow is Thursday.
Tomorrow is Thursday. Again, Friday we have to wait one more day. Okay.
So fast, no? Like it went like anything.
Yeah. So I was still thinking tomorrow is Friday actually.
Yeah. So
okay. So from tomorrow onwards, then we'll take in the afternoon, huh? Okay. Very good.
I'll just let you know the timings. I have to check. Like tomorrow, some person is having one interview, I guess.
Yeah.
See, now after searching, it has performed the click operation. So you're seeing the results of it. So now once it is done, I have written driver.close, so it will just close the browser. See, it has closed. Okay. We'll continue tomorrow now. I forgot, like it's so too late. I was just in the flow.
And this we have to practice once, do everything, then only it will set in mind.
Yeah.
First, you have to do that project setup. You have to just create a Maven project. And if you're having any doubts, let me know. I'll just paste this code and the steps how to do in a Word document, and I'll give you.
Okay.
Then you can.
Once you share the recording, I will also try to go through this again, so that if you have any notes, we can discuss tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.